Hello everyone, welcome back. So it's been 5 weeks since I made a video. There's a few reasons for that. There's the fact that I was at my parents' house watching the dog for 3 weeks. But before that, even before I posted the last video, I've been having a period of just demotivation. Demotivation? Is that a thing? Is that a word? I don't know. I just wasn't motivated to record gameplay, play games at all, even, especially Battlefield. And I've just been thinking a lot about if I even want to continue doing this YouTube thing and what kind of direction I want it to go in. Because I enjoy Battlefield. I do. But only in very limited periods, I think. I am a Call of Duty player at heart, but the games have been complete garbage, and Activision is a garbage company. As you'll know, I hate them with a burning passion, if you've seen previous videos. Hate that company. And the games that, like I said, have been garbage for the past 6-7 years, which is just tragic, really. But Battlefield 1 has been a nice change of pace, and I'm hoping Battlefield 6 will be, even though it doesn't come out till like next year, I'm hoping that it'll be a nice change of pace and it'll be a nice competitor to Call of Duty so that they fucking get a fire lit under their asses. And I'm really hopeful for the supposed Battle Royale that is coming out, because Warzone is in such a state that is just ridiculous. And I'm really missing Warzone, but I tried it again very recently, and 2 games in a row I died to cheaters, and it was like, okay. Well, yes, you can update all of these old weapons and make the meta very diversified and stuff, but it doesn't really matter if you don't do anything about the servers or the cheating issues, you know? So Warzone just, everything related to Call of Duty just fucking sucks right now. And that makes me really sad because, like I said, I am a Call of Duty player at heart. I was never a diehard Battlefield fan, although I do like Battlefield 1 and 5 and a couple of the old games as well. But it's just not the same for me. You know, my favorite map in Conquest is Argonne Forest because there are no tanks and planes. And Sinai Desert is my literal nightmare. You know, filled with tanks and planes and sniper campers. And I played a game on it earlier to warm up a bit, and it is... I mean, it might be in the video, actually, come to think of it, but it was a nightmare. And that one point, I think it's the B point, the fact that there is that stupid high ground above it where people can just sit and protect the point and have, like, the most OP high ground you've ever seen. I hate that. Anyway, the main point of today's video is something that has plagued me my entire adult life, and I mean my teenage years as well. And that is my fear of failure, or my fear of failure / perfectionism / whatever you want to call it. When I was younger, my parents would always praise me for my work, but then it was like, yes, you did good, but if you did this, or if you studied more or worked harder, you could have, achieved this. You could have gotten this grade on your paper instead of this. And I know that they never meant anything by it. And in later times, I've learned that they both got that from their parents, which makes sense. You know, people take on the habits of their parents all the time. It's very normal. I can see that in myself as well a lot of the time. I'm very similar to my dad in a lot of ways, so it makes sense. But this constant lack of praise, basically, it sort of imprinted in my brain that I will never be good enough no matter what I do. Or in a lot of activities that I've done throughout the years, it's been, if I'm not the best in this thing, there is no point in even doing it to begin with. I have quit a lot of activities throughout the years. Basically all the sports I've done, everything. I always felt like I was shit. And, like I said, if I wasn't the best, there was no point. But of course, I wouldn't give myself any time to actually learn. I would just quit immediately. And I hated, being the worst at something is my worst nightmare. I hate being bad at something. So that has haunted me throughout my entire life. And because video games have been such a prominent activity in my life, it has been especially bad in video games. Basically, ever since I started playing online multiplayer games, this has haunted me. Every game I have played since I was about 13, 14 maybe, has had the exact same cycle. I have started playing the game. I have been very bad at it, but it's a new game, so I'm very excited and it's fun to learn a new game, and I'm just messing around and learning the game and having fun. And then I always, get better at it, and then I maybe play ranked. Not always, but maybe play ranked, and then I get a little bit better. And then I usually end up around average rank in most games. And it always gets to a point where now I'm suddenly taking the game really seriously. And that's when I start to hate the game. So this has happened with every single online multiplayer game I've ever played. First, it started with Call of Duty back in 2009, 2010, something like that. I started playing Modern Warfare 2 and, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 1, all of those old games. And after a while, I would start raging. I would rage, I would scream, I would curse whenever the smallest little inconvenience happened. And I have kept doing it ever since, basically. I am now 28, and I still do that from time to time, but it's a lot better now. It's a lot better because I've learned what was causing that rage. But I'm far from over this feeling of failure, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But it was first Call of Duty, then League of Legends. Yes, people meme about League of Legends being a terrible game, but I don't think it is. Despite I played League of Legends for 10 years, and I still don't think it's a bad game. I just think the community is garbage, and I think that you have to have a strong mentality to play the game. But that's not the game's fault. It's just designed in a certain way that if you don't have a strong mental and a good patience, you're gonna go crazy and you're gonna get angry and tilted and whatever. But that's a different story. For years and years, whenever I played games, Call of Duty, League of Legends, what else have I played? Overwatch was huge for me. Played Overwatch for a long time. And now recently, Marvel Rivals, Battlefield. I've kept playing Call of Duty for a while. All of those games, I would be raging and screaming, and it took me a long time to figure out why I got so angry at these games. Because after all, they're just games, right? No. For me, they are not just games. For me, they are my self-worth. My skill in a video game is literally tied to my self-worth. And to anyone who's never had this experience, this may sound batshit crazy. Because to you, a video game could never be that serious. Or anything, for that matter, could be that serious. But if you're like me, and you've experienced this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like I said, I've been very strict with myself for all of my life because of, the way that my parents treated my successes and failures. And if I wasn't the best at something, then it was pointless, right? Or I was, well, I say was, but I think it's more accurate to say I am. If I am bad at a video game, I am worthless. I still feel this way. And at this point, I've had years of therapy. Or, well, coaching, technically. I have a coach from Healthy Gamer. Highly recommend, by the way. It's not a direct replacement for therapy, so I don't think it is, but if you need help in life, then it's a way better and cheaper alternative. So, not sponsored, by the way, but just, I'm very happy with my coach, so yeah. But he helped me. If it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have ever found out about this intense fear of failure that I have. There was a period, like in the recent years, where it got a lot better. And, I was being way less harsh on myself with bad performance in games and stuff like that. But then recently, it's starting to get worse again. I feel like I'm relapsing or something. The thing is, like, every time it starts to go better, I get into a new game, and then I start getting invested in this new game. And as soon as I start getting invested in a game again and want to get better at it, that's when I start to rage and tilt and get really angry at myself for making even just the tiniest mistakes. And if I'm the bottom of the scoreboard, I feel completely worthless. I feel like a shit human being who is not worthy of love. And again, if you've never been in this situation, it might sound crazy to you, but this is my life. This has been my life for the past 10 years, at least, maybe like 15 years. I have been almost unable to enjoy at least online multiplayer games because I need to be the best or it's pointless. And it is fucking exhausting. I'm exhausted. Sometimes I tell myself that it's just a game. Why are you so angry? There's no reason to be. Yeah, of course there's no reason to be. But the thing is, it's not me who's thinking I'm worthless because of this. It is child me, basically. Because to a child, when you say, this was good, but you could have done better if you just worked harder, is basically the same as saying, you are shit, right? You suck at this, you're useless, right? You're unworthy of love. I mean, maybe not exactly, but that's basically what I hear if someone tells me that I'm bad at a video game. Unless it's like a friend or someone and I know it's just banter or whatever. There have been many times where I have actually been like I have felt like an absolute loser when I'm having a bad game and someone on my team calls it out. I have felt horrible from that. And even though I know that they're just projecting their own insecurities or whatever, or they're just tilted or what have you, it still hurts so much. It's basically my biggest weak point. And maybe I shouldn't say that on YouTube, but honestly, the reason I'm making this video is that I'm hoping for it to spread a little bit and to be seen by people who have the same issue. And maybe, hopefully, I can find some help, some advice from people and stuff like that. I don't know. But the reason I'm even talking about this to begin with is that it's part of the reason why I haven't been making as many videos lately. And it's the reason I stopped playing League of Legends, because I was literally using that series as a chance to try to fix my relationship to video games, or to just activities in general. But being so invested in trying to get a higher rank in a video game burned me out so much that I don't even want to play the game anymore. That was like the nail in the coffin for me. I have not even touched League of Legends since that. I played a couple games every now and then, but I can't get myself to like the game anymore, because I just lost all joy I had from the game. So these feelings of failure have been, like I said, haunting me my whole life pretty much. But recently I've felt them come back again, because I started playing Marvel Rivals again, and I'm a tank player. And the tank role is just like in Overwatch, in hero shooters in general, it seems. The tank role is miserable, because tanks just don't get to have fun, and DPS melee characters are more tanky than you will ever be and deal a lot more damage than you will ever do. And it's just, it just feels like you're getting scammed in every single game you play. However, I know that there are tank players who get to eternity, like almost very easily. Yes, I am aware that comparison is the thief of joy, but that hasn't stopped me from comparing myself to anyone ever throughout my entire life, because I feel like everyone is better than me. So just the fact that I know that people can get to, for example, I saw Flats doing a Captain America unranked GM, and he was just breezing through the games. Maybe not at the very top, like Diamond, Plat Diamond, but he was breezing through because he just knows how it works. You know, it's completely unreasonable for me to think, with the amount of hours that I have in Marvel Rivals, which is not a lot, that I would be good at playing tanks. It's completely unreasonable. But I look at, you know, these high level players and my teammates even, and I just always feel like I'm lagging behind, like I'm dragging people down, dragging my teammates down, my friends, because I'm such a bad player. And a lot of the time I feel like I just even don't want to play with them anymore, because I feel like I'm such an anchor that it just feels, I feel like a failure, like a loser, like I should stop playing games altogether because I'm so shit. And it's exhausting. And there is no real, and there's no like moral to this video. It's not like I have a solution because I still have this problem. But like I said earlier, this is a weak point for me. I feel very vulnerable talking about this because it's something that has affected me so much throughout my life. But it's something I want to shed a light on because there might be other people out there struggling with the same thing. And maybe, possibly, hopefully, there's people who can actually help me with this, share their own experiences and things that have helped them. And I don't know if anyone's going to see this video, but wanted to share. And I don't know if I'm going to keep making YouTube videos, honestly. Not just because of this fear of failure that I have. And I try to not compare myself to other creators and stuff like that, but it's also just, I really don't know what kind of content I want to make. Like, I want to be a variety channel, but I know for a fact that in order to grow, playing variety is basically suicide, because you grow so much faster by just playing one game, as far as I'm aware anyway. I don't know. I don't really feel like again, it's this fear of failure, or this perfectionism rather. I want to show good gameplay and also be entertaining at the same time. But the thing is, I feel like I am never entertaining unless I'm sort of improvising stuff. And it's basically impossible for me to improvise while playing and still trying to play well. And I know that I don't need to do both, but that's not what my brain is telling me. Because my brain is telling me that the way that people who do gaming content grow on YouTube or Twitch or whatever is by either being good at a game or being entertaining, funny, entertaining, whatever. And then there's people who do both. Those lucky motherfuckers. I hate those people because it's so unfair. I find it so unfair that people can be so incredibly nonchalant and then still perform amazingly in the games that they play and also be incredibly entertaining at the same time. It's like so unfair. And I want to be like that, but I know for a fact that I never will be. And that crushes my hopes and dreams. It really does. So yeah, will I keep doing this? I don't know. But if this is the last video I make, then at least it will be one I don't regret making. And I hope you watched this far. I hope some people can enjoy the relatability or whatever of this video. And if you have a similar experience, then feel free to let me know. And if you have some stuff that helped you get better, then, by all means, please let me know. I think that's all I have to say. If you watched this far, then thank you so much. And yeah, just thanks for watching. And I might see you in the next video. Bye-bye.